Just standing around a barn being surrounded by the bovine nature is a wonderful thing for me. If undocumented workers are sent back to the countries of origin, and you don't think you want to hang around in a barn, you might have to, because if there's no one here to milk the cows, clean the aisles, feed the cows, take care of everything on a dairy farm, you might have to be here with me. And that is a hard job, folks. So think twice before you don't want undocumented workers to be given visas. They need visas. They're reputable. They're wonderful guys and gals. Let's keep them in the United States where they can help us and we can help them. If a cow doesn't know you, they protect themselves. These cows are very docile, but they don't know me. And there's nothing like a perfect herd of Holstein, unless, of course, it's a perfect herd of Jersey, with a few brown Swiss thrown in, a couple of Guernseys, some Ayrshire. This is Holstein, and what can I say? If you're used to doing something like this, if you can handle it, you'll have a great job. Take a look at this. You have to be able to put up with anything when you're on a dairy farm. You never stay clean very long, but the fact is, it's the nicest job you'll ever go home to take a shower. And if you're willing to do this job, apply. Right, girl? Undocumented workers make our dairy industry or any agricultural industry fabulous. Look what they're in for. These girls are really taken care of, and all I can say, feels good to be on a farm. But not everybody wants to do this job. It's strenuous. It's taxing. You don't become a millionaire when you're working on a farm. You can be injured on a farm. And when cows are curious about you, you'll always have a friend. What's happening? Anyway, all I can say, if you ever get a chance to work on a farm, please do try. And you may have to, because if a certain segment of our society who is presently doing all the farm work is deported, I believe they should be given visas with great gratitude and hero biscuits too. Because not everybody can do this. I speak from experience. Hey, girl. There's nothing like a cow. I wish I could milk one right now. Maybe they'll let me milk one. I speak French, so it shouldn't be a difficult thing to do. The undocumented workers in the United States, I know they do a great job because they're loyal to the farm, they're kind to the cows, they're fast milkers. They do all sorts of wonderful things on the farm that you have never even known happen. The fact that I'm covered with cow manure right now might turn you off. But as long as there's a good shower at the end of the day, we can do it. And we might have to. Open your minds, because if you want dairy products in the United States and you send home your undocumented workers instead of giving them visas, which is the humane and common sense thing to do, then you might have to apply for a job on a dairy farm. And you might have to learn a lot that you never thought you would. And I bet you can do it, but I bet you wouldn't want to. Well, I bet you thought domesticity stopped at the kitchen door, but it does not. On a dairy farm, or any farm, cleanliness is next to godliness. It's hot, hot water, and a lot of good detergent, and honorable work. Hi! After you feed the calves, you have to do dishes. Calves are fabulous little beasties, and I love them all. And this is what they get. Right after the cow freshens, which is having her baby, they milk her milk into a separate container because it contains colostrum. And that can really help the babies. It's antibodies and gets them stronger, gives them a good start to life. And a good farmer knows that. So I'll finish dishes and I'll talk to you in another time. There's so many age differences and conditions on a dairy farm for the cows and calves. The hospital wing of a barn is really essential because you have to separate the unwell from the well. So many things can go wrong with a cow, even on the best of farms. So a herdsman has to be aware that they can develop all sorts of afflictions just because of a draft or being kicked or stepped on or missing a milking. And then if they're pregnant and they're just about to give birth, you take them away from the herd and you give them a little cushy place to stay. Nice and clean, very welcoming, very uncrowded, where they can give birth to their calves in a safe, sweet area. Plus you can keep an eye on them. Well, hello, I'm in the hospital of a certain barn, and when a cow gets mastitis, it looks like cottage cheese when it comes out of the udder. And if they're not taken care of, that cow can die or lose partial use of her bag, which is what we call the udder sac. And when they're taken care of, they're moved in here. And to work on a farm, you have to be able to recognize this or you'll lose your herd. And what can cause mastitis? Missing a milking, being late for a milking, getting kicked, getting stepped on by another cow, and bacteria. So most farms are clean. All farms in this part of the world are clean. They use a certain kind of sawdust. So let's go, we'll see some more. I'm in what they call the other part of the hospital, and these are young ladies who are about to become mummies. And the great thing about farming, it might be hard work and you might not love it right away, but if you're planning to work on a farm, one of the biggest joys, absolutely, is to watch calves come into the world. And they're immediately taken away from their mother. The mother's milk is milked into that separate container, and they are fed their mother's milk because it has, like I said earlier, colostrum, which will prevent, they've got antibodies in that, it will help them stay healthy. And they're so loved up at most farms that they might miss their mummies for a minute, but the farms make it very, very amenable. It's work. You have to be very careful that they don't get sick. Very drafty places will give them what they call scours. And that is a diarrhea that can destroy a calf instantly with dehydration. So when you're a herdsman, you have to watch out for those things too. It's not a job that everybody can do, but if undocumented workers in the United States are taken away, I'm telling you this so that you'll be prepared to go to a store someday and realize there might not be enough dairy products for you. So you might want to work on a farm. I recommend it, but can you do it? Hi, these calves are 3 days old or less, and as you can see, they're kept warm to once again prevent any kind of terrible disease from getting into their little system. Come here, baby. You can't help but love it. You cannot help but love farming. You can't help but love taking care of these animals. Absolutely. And see all the babies? They're all born within the last 3 days. And we're just so lucky to have a healthy dairy industry in this province. I mean, Canada won't be exporting anything to the States anytime soon because of tariffs and the embargo and the Stand Up For Yourself Canada thing. It will be very difficult for Americans to find any kind of dairy product if we haven't got anyone working these farms. And I hope to do another show, perhaps on a vegetable farm in Quebec next spring and summer, to try and tell you exactly what it takes to be a vegetable farmer. My grandfather was one, so I spent a lot of time on it, but I hardly did any work. But he was up at 5 o'clock every morning, and he came in for breakfast, came in for lunch, and he came in for supper. And then with any luck, we take a couple of rifles and go to the dump and do some target practice, just to get me out of Grandma's hair. But I grew up with the work that I watched. And not everybody can work like my grandfather. And not everybody can work on large farms, like the undocumented workers we have in the United States right now. So watch and learn, and then maybe you too will work on a farm because you have to. After calving, a lot of things can happen too, like milk fever, at which point you have to give them Calnate 1069 right into their jugular vein to give them calcium to get them up on their feet again. So many things can happen. Undocumented workers on farms know all of these things, perhaps not innately, but when they come here, they are so willing to learn and so eager to please. And they send their money home to fantastic families, and I love them all. And if they don't know this, and if you're not willing to learn this, something can happen on a farm that doesn't bode well for the United States in general, because you need good workers on a dairy farm. You need good workers on every sort of farm. And if undocumented workers are not given visas, we'll all suffer. Because are you willing to do this job? Are you willing to learn this much about cows? Are you willing to work 12 hours a day? Are you? I doubt it. So we better fight for visas for these wonderful people who are keeping us fed.
Hello again. And these cows are being milked. And I'm going to go down and milk some more. We've got a little help on the farm today. And see how wonderful they are? If you want to work on a farm, this is the right end of the cow. The other end gives milk and other things that come out of the body. But you get used to all that because it's worth it. You have to have a strong body and a strong mind to work on a farm. And the undocumented workers in the United States come in with both because they're survivors. I said no tongue. You make friends easily on a farm, I tell you. Anyway, the undocumented workers that come into the United States, they're survivors. They're pre-qualified because in order to make it to that country, they have to prove themselves as human beings to get as strong as they can to make the decisions they have to make, split-second decisions that will save their lives. By the time they get to the farm, they are so broken in to hard work and survivability and gratitude that you can't get a better worker. And if you ever go down to the States, they're going to need you, because if the undocumented workers are exported, deported, without any real reason, it's a self-defeating, knee-jerk, shoot yourself in the foot action of an irresponsible government. Right? Do you agree with me? Say yes. She said yes.
Well, folks, I guess you'd like to see the milking process. And maybe, or maybe not, you'd like to do this for a living. If undocumented workers from the United States are sent back to their countries of origin, you might have to do this. So let's go through and see what's being done. Before and after milking, the udders must be not sterilized particularly, but this is iodine, and it's dipped on the udder so that you can get rid of the bacteria before the machines go on and after the machines come off. This prevents mastitis. And it's a room temperature thing, so the cows don't really get a shock, but they can kick. They don't all like this. Here we have a brand new set of cows that have just come in to be milked. And these are what we call fresh cows, cows that have just given birth. As you can see, they are dying to be milked. It's uncomfortable for a cow when her bag is full, because she's used to having calves go after those little udders every single minute of the day. And now we've taken the calves away, we have to milk the cow. And a good cow can give 160 pounds a day. And these are just amazing bags. Absolutely gorgeous cows. And they're ready to go. They're all waiting to be milked, and they're a little anxious. That's a milk vein. It's a very full milk vein. It's very healthy. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. I just like, do not do this at home. I sprayed myself. Oh. Stop it. Okay, go. Okay, go. After I've dip them in iodine. I pull each udder just to get a little bit of milk going. And even if they're already automatically flowing, you do a little stripping after the cow freshens or gives birth, because it gives you a chance to see if the milk is coming out as lumps, which means mastitis is already set in, or really good flow. And it gets the cows feeling a little bit used to the fact that the machines are going on. It's very humane. Here comes the machines. They have a pulsating suction that makes the cows very comfortable if they've got a full bag like this. They are so relieved. I can't imagine being so bloated in that area without any relief at all. So cows enjoy this.
I can't reach her. I'm a terrible one. I'm trying. And you know what? It's been 35 years. 35 years since I milked a cow. And you don't forget, but I have lost a lot of nerve. It'll take me a while to get back into it. However, I will get back into it if the farm workers in the United States get sent away. We'll have to, because we'll have to feed each other. You have no idea how much work is done by the people who are working on the American farms right now. Deportation is not the answer. Think about it. Would you like to do this job?
Hi, it's me again. And if you're willing and able to do what I'm about to do, you too might want to work on a farm. Undocumented workers come here willing and able to do it all. And they do so willingly. They're fabulous. And it's something to be extremely proud of if you know how to do this. But are you willing to do it? If the undocumented workers are not given visas, line up to apply for this job.
First of all, you get a little lubricant from the floor. It's what came out of them in the first place. This one's only about 45 days pregnant. As my father used to say, you can't be a little bit pregnant. But this one definitely is. Thank you, girl. If you feel like you can do this job, you're very lucky. And you may have to, just in case we lose all the undocumented workers on farms in the States. You might want to start telling your friends who you know in the States that in order to have any kind of relationship with food on your table like dairy, cheese, milk, cream, yogurt, to name a few, you might have to get a job on a farm and be prepared to wear one of these. It's hard to get a purse to match, but you'll never regret it.
Leaving the barn. You don't want to carry all the gifts with you. It's still on your face, it's still on your clothing, but the manure goes down the drain. And our dairy industry might go down the drain too. Why? Because undocumented workers might not be given visas. Think about it. Thank God for cows. I did the math and was surprised. 'Tis been 4 decades since I donned barn boots and thus disguised, though there remain some hints, that a city girl was about to speak of the life within a barn. How working there is not for the weak, because it's tough to farm. I was just a clumsy guest as I walked among the cows. They looked at me, a lowly pest, no doubt wondering how I'd come to mix with this great herd of the bovine persuasion. As I tried recalling what I'd learned way back on such occasions, my host allowed me every chance to talk and show my stuff. And as the afternoon advanced, I had not quite enough. You see, I'd lost some confidence as I put on the machines, but with a bit of common sense, I got back that old feeling. The miracle of being there in a milking parlor filled with cows took me back many a year to when I milked and hayed and plowed, and woke before dawn to throw hay bales to the dry cows in the barn. The smell of hay back then prevails, like all things on a farm. Rounding up the milkers and pushing them inside, swearing without filters when the loners tried to hide. Milking took me hours then, because I took my time, and I'd do it all again, though not now in my prime. Yesterday I had the chance to tape the show inside a barn. It was a joy to do the dance with Holsteins on that modern farm. And though I showered at my place and scrubbed manure off my face and washed my hair a tangled mane, that process was so much in vain. You see, this morning I awoke smelling the barn once again. I stayed in bed like lazy folks and just inhaled that heavy scent, feeling complete and so content. Oh, to have another go at milking cows one winter's day, watching real life ebb and flow and toss a ton of sweet baled hay, or dip the udders for the milking, stripping each of their first squirt, knowing bulk tanks were a filling and loving all the muckin' work. So today I met the day with that aroma all around, not the scent of new mown hay, but the real stuff you'll not find in town. And I closed my eyes again, inhaling what I justly earned, the memories of love and pain, so grateful for the lessons learned. There's nothing like the farming life, the cows, the work, the tears, the strife, and satisfaction every day of knowing that you've earned your pay. My life right now is too sedate. There's nothing that will compensate for the feeling that I quit too soon. I miss the smells of cows, a mooing, all the work and all the peace. Thank God I've memories like these.